Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me today. We will begin today in a crocodile pose, lying flat on our bellies. You can stack your palms with one hand on top of the other. You could also put your forehead on a blanket, a towel, or a block if that feels better. To me, a block is a little bit too elevated, so I'm going to choose my hands. Make any adjustments you need to feel a little bit more comfortable in your space. And start to notice the expansion and contraction of your belly, your lungs. You can likely feel your ribs pushing into the ground as you breathe in. And then you can kind of feel yourself sink into the mat as you breathe out. Do that again. Breathe in. Imagine breathing into the back of your lungs. Breathe out and feel a little bit heavier. Take a few more like that. Unclenching your jaw, softening the muscles in your face. At the bottom of your next exhale, start to seal your lips. Breathe evenly through your nose, Ujjayi, pranayama, victorious breath. Make your breath audible, intentional, ocean sounding. And then nice and slow, like you're moving through honey, take your right leg out to the right, about 90 degrees with your foot flexed. Lift your head so you can thread your left arm underneath, kind of like thread the needle. Here's where a block could be helpful underneath your forehead, or you can use your right forearm as a pillow. Let this be pretty relaxing, so think less effort, a little bit more ease. If you do want a little bit more effort, just think about kicking the right inner heel down, flexing your foot a little bit more. Allow the pressure of the mat to soften or relax your left quadriceps. Take one more breath right here. Keep your left arm where it is. Put your right hand into your left hand like you're clapping your hands. And then let that right arm rainbow up and over. Let the right arm hang. So the right shoulder is not going to go all the way down. I want you to keep your right knee on the mat. You're just getting a nice, awesome stretch across your chest, all the way down that right arm. If you need a little bit less, come out of the pose just a tad and breathe here for 3. Relax your right palm, 2. 1 more breath. Nice and slow, roll back onto your stomach, unthread your left arm, extend your right leg back. Take that left leg out to the left, about 90 degrees with the foot flexed. Thread your right arm underneath. You can put a block or left forearm underneath your forehead. If you want a little bit more effort in this shape, flex your left foot more, kick the inner heel down, maybe the toes lift up off the ground. Allow the pressure of the mat and the earth underneath you to help relax and soften your right thigh muscles. Even breath, 1 more. Keep your right arm under. Take your left hand into your right hand like you're clapping your hands. Let that left arm rainbow up and over, but keep the left shoulder off the ground. You want to keep the left knee grounded. Just let that left arm hang. So really, really passive stretch. Breathe, 3. Right shoulder and right arm are heavy to the ground, 2. 1 more breath. And roll back onto your stomach. Unthread your right arm, extend your left leg back. Take your hands off the mat like a 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock up onto the fingertips. Imagine you have a baseball or tennis ball underneath your hands. Press into the tops of your feet. On your inhale, roll your chest up to a modified cobra pose. Stay up on the fingertips, not the palms. And then lower yourself right back down. Again, inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Drop your right shoulder towards the center of your mat. Look over your left elbow. Inhale back up. Drop your left shoulder towards the center of your mat. Look over your right elbow. Inhale back to center. Lower your ribs to the ground. Lift your pinky fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, pointer fingers and thumbs until you find a cactus arm back bend. I like to squeeze the fists nice and tight. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, pull your chin to your throat, and then crawl your ribs a little bit more forward. Try to lengthen through your waist for 3. Feel your belly push into the mat with every breath. 2. 1, stack your palms opposite hand on top from the beginning. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet side to side. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or furrowing your eyebrows together. Try to let that go. Extend your legs behind you. Slide your hands back so the palms are in line with your ribs. Spike your toes to the mat and squeeze your legs so your kneecaps and thighs lift up off the ground as much as possible. Firm up your glutes, pull your belly button up and in. Imagine pushing your palms through the mat to come up to plank pose. Slightly protract your shoulder blades, so feel space between the shoulder blades. Scoop your tailbone towards your heels, and imagine your hip points, your pubic bone pulling forward. Bend your knees, push your belly back to your thighs, lift your outer hips. Drop your head, relax your neck. Lengthen through your arms and push through the thumb and the pointer finger mound of your hand. So you'll feel less pressure in your wrists that way. And straighten one of your legs. And switch. And then just do that a little bit on your own. Relax your jaw. Find some stillness in down dog. Always feel free to keep a bend in your knees. Tone your belly, pull the bottom ribs in. Imagine the sides getting a little bit longer as you reach, extend through your arms. Let's lift the heels. Tippy toes, walk all the way up to the front of your mat. Take lots of little baby steps. Separate your feet really wide. Clasp your hands behind your head, and then think elbows towards each other like you're wearing a helmet. This helps you relax the upper back, your neck a little bit more. Find a gentle sway side to side. Always feel free to keep your knees bent in a forward fold. That will help you get more length in your spine, your lower back especially. When we start to round the spine, that's usually because the hamstrings are tight. So bend the knees more, lengthen your spine, and then fold. Switch your grip, opposite thumb on top. Use your back muscles, your glutes, almost like a reverse deadlift. Come all the way up to stand, flat back, elbows go out wide, squeeze your legs, and then crunch over to the right. Squeeze your right oblique. Inhale back through center, almost like your hands are lifting the back of your skull, crunch over to the left. Come back through center, hands to the low back, lift your chest, scoop your tailbone underneath you as you lean back. So you're not arching your back, you're not sticking your butt out behind you, your tailbone's actually scooping down and forward. Inhale back up, exhale, fold over your legs. Let's lift up halfway, take a breath in. Plant your hands to the ground, step back with your right foot, then your left foot to plank pose. Shift your weight forward and drop your knees. Bend your elbows back as you lower your chest and chin to the ground. Tone your belly on the way down. So even though your butt's sticking up, you're not just disengaging your core. Slide yourself through to a cobra pose. Pin your shoulder heads back like you're shining your heart forward. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Head is totally heavy, gazing back at the feet, the thighs, or up towards your navel. Even if you're not gazing exactly at your navel, if you think about trying to find it, you'll feel a little bit more engagement through your low belly. Breathe. Lift your heels, look forward, step right foot, then left foot to the front. This time your feet touch or hip width. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach up. Keep your hips square to the front of your mat, but open arms, twist to the right. You'll have to squeeze the inner thighs together. Push your right hip crease a little bit forward and squeeze your glutes. Can you get lighter in your toes? Inhale, reach up, lengthen your waist. Exhale, twist open to the left, and just pay attention to where the hips go. Try to push that left hip a little forward. Inhale, reach up. Option to lean back if that feels good. Exhale, forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees. Lift up halfway. Hands down, step back, left foot, then right foot, with or without your knees, lower chaturanga. Elbows go backwards. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Splitting the mat in half, hands pushing forward, reaching, squeezing your legs like the feet are dragging the mat backwards. Take one more breath here in down dog. Lift your heels, look forward, step left foot, then right foot to the front, halfway lift. Fold forward. Inhale, rise, reach. Hips stay square to the front, twist to the right, maybe looking back to your right thumb. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist left, gazing back, left thumb. Inhale, reach up, option to lean back. Exhale, forward fold. Lift up halfway. Step back or jump back. If you're stepping back, just alternating which foot goes first. Gaze forward as you lower so you're not dumping into your cervical spine. Inhale your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Always feel free to adjust the pose. You're never stuck where you land. Feet hip width, hands shoulder width or slightly wider. Lift your heels, look forward, step or jump to the front, halfway lift, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Last time, twist to your right. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, reach up, option to lean back. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back or jump back. Use your exhale to lower. Inhale, cobra, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Separate your feet the width of your mat. Keep your toes pointing forward. Bring your thumbs to touch, and they might need to walk back a little bit. Take your left hand, reach for your outer right ankle. If you can't reach, separate your feet more. Walk your hands back more, or put your right hand on a block. Bump your hips a little to the left. And switch. Left hand down, right hand for the outer left ankle. Heels sinking, it's okay if they don't touch, but if they do touch, can you lift your toes? Release, thumbs touch, look forward, step or jump outside of your hands into yogi squat. Feel free to move around a little bit here. Shift your weight side to side. Maybe roll out the wrists, your neck. Always feel free to explore the poses as long as you're breathing intentionally. Turn your toes forward, lift your hips so they're in line with the knees. Stretch your arms forward. Minimize the arch in your low back by pulling your bottom ribs up and in, almost like you're tucking your tailbone ever so slightly for 3, 2, hands down, option, Bakasana, knees to the armpits, grip with your finger pads and look forward, crow pose. Make sure the knees are on the backs of the arms. Bring your feet together and gaze forward for 3. Otherwise, step back, hold plank. 2. Shift the weight to the heels of your hands to shoot your feet back, chaturanga. You can always step back as well. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Your right hand will grab the outer right side of your mat as you lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, stack your hips. This just helps you feel a little bit more stable. Roll out that right hip. And then square off the hips, crunch right knee to your nose. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, figure 4, down dog. Or put a little bend in your left knee for figure 4, bear pose. Flex your right toes and really try to push your right shin back. Look forward, step your right foot forward, runner. Prop up onto the fingertips or use blocks. Make your left leg a little straighter than you thought possible by pushing the back of your left knee up and engaging your outer left glute. Imagine lifting your belly, your ribs off of your right thigh. Pull your chest forward and your shoulder heads back for 3, 2, 1. Drop your back knee, reach both arms up, Anjaneyasana B. Sink into your right heel, take a breath in. Exhale, twist to your right, left hand on the knee. Hug your outer hips in, look back at your right thumb. Sweep your right arm over top your left arm. You've got eagle arms. If that doesn't work, grab the shoulders instead. Lift your elbows, triceps off the chest as you continue to melt the hips forward. Can you get lighter in the right toes, heavier in the heel for 3, 2, half splits with or without the eagle arms. With the arms is going to be a bit more core work. Without the arms, you're going to get more fold, more stretch in the back of your right leg. Spread your toes apart and roll your outer left hip forward for 3. Lead with the space between your eyebrows so you're not craning your neck 2. 1 more breath. Bend your right knee, runner's lunge. Push your palms into the mat so you avoid dragging the right foot back. Step back, downward facing dog. Left hand, grab the outer edge of the mat. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knees, stack your hips, and move your left leg around. Try to avoid the right heel spinning out. Keep the right leg firm and in place. Square off your hips. Crunch left knee to nose. Cross left ankle over right thigh, figure 4, down dog. Flex your left toes. I like to bend the right knee as well. I just feel more sensation on the outer left hip that way. Head heavy, relax your neck. Look forward. Step your left foot forward, runner. So sometimes just holding still is a lot more challenging. We move around and kind of distract ourselves. So if you're just kind of dumping or softening here, where can you find more engagement? Push to the back of your right knee up. Engage your outer right hip. Can you pull the left hip crease a little bit back? Lift your belly, your ribs off of that left thigh. Pin the shoulders back away from the ears. Lengthen your neck, last 2. 1, drop your back knee and reach up, Anjaneyasana B. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist left, right hand on the knee. Sweep your left arm over top your right arm. Always the option to grab the elbows instead. Lift your elbows off your chest. Squeeze your right glute and press the top of your right shin down to feel more stable. Last 2. 1 more breath. With or without the eagle arms, half splits pose. Flex your toes. Feel like you're dragging your left leg back towards you while trying to push that right outer hip forward. One more breath. Rebend your left knee. Push your palms into the ground. Without dragging your foot, step back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Reseal your lips. Ujjayi breath. Lift your right leg up behind you. Keep your hips square so you're not opening the hips to the right. The right leg's not coming up super high. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Back foot flat, warrior 1, rise. Soften your shoulders. Roll your outer left hip forward. Inhale, look up, maybe the palms touch overhead. As you exhale, turn to your left, bend your left knee, put your right hand on the ground for a side lunge twist. The left knee is bending, push your butt back. Reach up with your left arm and look up at your thumb. Push into your feet, rise all the way up, star pose. Squeeze your legs. When you get there, grab your left wrist and lean over to the right. Notice if you're flaring your ribs out and arching your back, can you soften the ribs down? Inhale back through center. Dive your chest down to the left. And then slow, walking around to the front, find runner's lunge. You may need to bump your left foot a little bit to the left before you come up to a high lunge, crescent A. Feel the outer hips hug in. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist open to your right. Your right hand finds the back of your left leg. Keep twisting to the right. I like to gaze down off the right side of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, left hand, then right hand to the ground. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Settle your breath. Without flailing the leg up, slow, left leg lift, hip square. Exhale, step it forward, find warrior 1, rise. Roll your outer right hip forward, take a breath in, look up, maybe the palms touch. As you exhale, turn to your right, bend your right knee, left hand down, side lunge twist. Push your butt back, stack the shoulders and look up to your right thumb. Try not to let that right arm just fall back behind you, really reach up. Star pose, inhale. Grab your right wrist and lean to your left. Inhale, center. Drop your torso down to the right and swing it around to the front. Find runner's lunge. You might need to move your right foot a little to the right before you come up to high lunge, crescent warrior. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist to your left. Gaze down off the left side of your mat as you take your left hand to your right hamstring and reach your right arm up. Keep that twist to the left. Inhale. Exhale, both hands to the mat. Step back, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Moving with the pace of our breath, as we often do in my class. Feel free to move a little faster or slower than me, depending on the pace of your breath. If you ever need to take a break or would like to add a pose in, of course, feel free. Lift your right leg up, inhale. Exhale, step. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, side lunge twist at the back, right hand down. Star pose, inhale. Grab your left wrist, lean to your right. Back to center. Dive your torso down to the left. Walk it to the front. High lunge, crescent warrior, inhale. Exhale, twist to your right. Just the left arm reach up. Take both hands to the mat, step back, chaturanga. Inhale up, exhale back. Inhale, left leg lift. Exhale, soft step. Warrior one, rise. Side lunge twist at the back, right knee bend. Star pose. Grab right wrist, lean left. Back to center. Dive it down to the right and walk it to the front. Crescent A, rise. Twist to your left. Right arm reach up. And chaturanga, step it back. Inhale up. Exhale back, down dog. One more time, right leg. Step forward. Warrior one. Side lunge twist at the back. Star. Left wrist to the right. Center. Dive down to the left. Walk it to the front. Crescent A. Twist right. Just the left arm up. Chaturanga on your exhale. Inhale up. Exhale back. Last time, left leg. Step forward. Warrior one. Side lunge twist at the back. Star pose. Right wrist to the left. Center. Drop it down to the right, all the way around to the front. Crescent lunge, reach. Twist left. Right arm up. And then both hands down, step back, chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale, child's pose. Breathing through your nose. Starting to slow down the breath once again, especially if it feels erratic or shallow. Quicker than it was at the beginning. Slowly coming back to that homeostasis point, even controlled breath. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. Lift your heels, look forward, step or jump to the front. Halfway lift, fold. Take your peace sign fingers, grab hold of your big toes. Padangusthasana, inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, fold. Always an option to bend the knees. Roll a little weight to the big toe so you kind of feel the inner thighs roll back. Can you shift some weight forward without gripping into the toes for 3? Use the exhales too. One more breath. Release, halfway lift and fold. Take a long step back with your left foot. Spin your foot flat. Walk your hands 45 degrees to the left. I call this a down dog lunge. The feet are in warrior one, the upper body's in down dog. Squeeze your legs as much as you would in warrior one. And then can you push your right knee a little bit to the right so it's still going in the direction of the toes and not collapsing inwards. Lengthen your arms, hollow your armpits, and breathe for 3. Got some background noise here, so just be present with your breath. 2. And 1. Walk it to the back, flying monkey, skandasana, or another side lunge if you need. Flex your right toes, squeeze your right quadriceps, and if this feels really easy, you don't feel a stretch, try to lift your hips just a ½ inch or maybe a full inch off the ground. Can you tune in with your breath, even when there are slightly annoying, loud sounds? You can only do so much with the external environment. Find that steady breath for 3. Last 2. And 1, pivot around to the back of your mat, find a runner's lunge, and drop your back knee. Reach both arms up, grab your right wrist, and lean over to your left. Feel like your left hip crease is pulling back, and your outer right hip is trying to roll forward. Turn this into a prayer twist to the left. Hook your right elbow outside of your left thigh. Left palm pushes down into right palm. Stack the elbows. You're always welcome to take a wide arm twist if this does not work out. Tuck your right toes and lift your right knee up off the ground. Avoid the right heel falling out to the right. Try to hug it in towards the midline. Keep turning your chest to the left. Think sternum towards the thumbs. Firm up your entire right leg. Back of the knee, right glute for 3. 2. Look down, step your right foot to meet your left foot into a twisted chair pose. You can always unwind and come back to the twist. Pull your right knee, right hip a little bit back. Keep turning your chest to the left. Get light in your toes for 3. 2. 1, fold. Option to grab that right wrist behind your ankles. 1 more breath. Release that grip, halfway lift. Your left foot will take a long step back, drop your knee, crooked monkey pose on the right side, right hand to the thigh, or reaching back for your right foot. Feel free to put a block underneath your left hand, or I like to prop up under the fingertips. You can get 2 different stretches here by grabbing the foot. 1, pulling your heel to your butt, you're getting that quad and left hip flexor stretch, or kicking back into your right hand, you're getting more of a shoulder opener and chest stretch for 3. 2. 1 more breath. Release that grip. Wiggle your front foot in, half splits or full splits on the right side. Flex your right toes. I like to keep the back toes tucked at least while I try to wiggle my left knee back a little bit. Always feel free to put blocks under your hands or under that front thigh. You want to feel your outer left hip roll down and forward. The right hip crease is trying to pull back, so you're squaring yourself over your right leg as much as you can instead of just dumping to the right and opening the hips up to the left. Breathe. 3. 2. 1 more breath here. And then we'll find pigeon pose on the right side. Safely, of course. Feel free to put a prop underneath your right glute, underneath your forehead or forearms. And always feel free to take a seated figure 4 instead. The same idea is true here. So instead of just jumping onto the right hip, we want to level out the weight in the hips by feeling the right hip crease pull back. The outer left hip is rolling downwards. So you're not dumping to one side. The hips are square and level. We'll be adding a twist here to the right. Thread your left arm underneath, optional of course. Block is great underneath the forehead or the right forearm, kind of like what we did in the beginning. This will likely intensify the sensation you feel on your outer right hip. And then we're going to take a twist the other way. You can start by doing thread the needle, right arm under, maybe interlacing the hands so the left hand's kind of pulling the right hand away from you, or turn that into a prayer hand twist with the outer right elbow, right tricep on the ground. You just have to be really mindful here that you're rolling your outer left hip down still so that the twist comes from the torso, not the hips. Press down through the pinky toe side of your left foot for 3. Keep turning chest to the left, 2. 1. Unwind, roll onto your right hip and swing your left leg around. Seated figure 4 pose. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Avoid rounding your back, sit up nice and tall. We're gonna try, if possible, the same idea here. Left hand stays as it is, reach your right arm up, and try to hook your right elbow on the bottom of your right foot. You can start with the right elbow bent and turn your chest to the left. Flex your right toes. You're pushing your foot into your tricep and tricep into your foot. If that's going well, you might intensify the pose by bringing prayer hands to your heart center. Keep turning your chest to the left. It should be pretty challenging for 3. 2. And 1. Put your left hand down behind you. Release your right arm as you extend your left leg straight. Put your right foot outside of your left knee and then turn all 10 toes to the left. So you're rolling to the outer edge of that left hip. All 10 toes are pointing to the long edge of your mat. Reach your right arm off that side of the mat. Sweep it forward so the right hand can grab the outer edge of the left foot with the thumb down. Your left fingers are also pointing off the same edge of the mat. Hug your left elbow in. You'll shift your weight forward into your right foot. See if you can lift your left leg, left hip off the mat for Baby Grasshopper Pose. Breathe for 3. Feel free to put your left hand on a block, 2. And 1. Lower your hips down. Turn your right toes to point forward. We're gonna take a counter stretch, twist to the right. Left elbow outside the right knee, look over your right shoulder, should feel pretty nice. Flex your left toes and press the ball of your right foot down for 3. 2. And 1. Unwind, counter stretch to that twist. Put your hands off to the left, do a little dip. Press it back up, unravel your right foot, then bend your left knee. Put your hands behind your hamstrings, float your shins parallel to the ground, Navasana, boat pose. Push your low back in, option to extend the legs straight, lift your sternum and plug your shoulders back, 5. Tone your belly, 4. 3, 2, 1. Cross your ankles, pull your feet behind you, step back or jump back, chaturanga. You'll be facing the back of your mat. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Lift your heels and look forward. Step or jump to your hands. Separate your feet about the width of your hips. Slide your hands underneath your feet, Pada Hastasana. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, fold. Rolling some weight towards the wrist crease. As you do that, you feel like your hips shift forward over your heels instead of the hips being back behind the heels. Squeeze your legs, feel your inner thighs roll back. Slide the shoulder blades up away from the ears. Imagine trying to slide your hands out from underneath you. Last 3. Engage the front of your thighs. 2. And 1. Release your hands, halfway lift. Take a long step back with your right foot. Spin your heel flat. Walk your hands 45 degrees to your right into a down dog lunge. Push the left knee out a little to the left. Can you lift the left rib cage off of the left thigh? Firm down the outer edge of your right foot like you're trying to lift the arch. 3. 2. 1. Walk it over to the right, Skandasana, flying monkey pose at the front. Flex your left toes so they point up. Side lunge is a good alternative. And if you're pretty flexible, you don't feel a lot of effort here, lift your hips up like 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Squeeze your legs. Imagine pulling your glutes together to help externally rotate your hips for 3. Take some rounding out of your low back. 2. 1, pivot to the front of your mat, drop your left knee and reach both arms up, Anjaneyasana B. Grab your left wrist, lean to your right. Feel a little tug back of your right hip crease and your outer left hip is rolling forward slightly. Turn this into a prayer twist or wide arms again. Right palm push down into left palm. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee off the mat. Whatever you do, just don't let that left heel fall out to the left. Try to keep the heel stacked over the ball of the foot or even hugging in a little bit to the midline. 3. Right knee pushing out to the right. 2. 1, look down, step your left foot to meet your right foot. It's okay if you feel a little wobbly on the way. Sink your butt back, get lighter in your toes. Make sure the left knee's not jutting out in front of the right knee. Last 2. 1 more breath. Fold, option to grab that left wrist behind the ankles. Release grip, half lift. Right foot step back, drop your knee, crooked monkey pose. Wiggle the left foot out and angle the toes out. So wider stance and angled stance. Left hand to the thigh or reach back for the right foot. Again, you've got 2 options if you're grabbing that right foot. You can pull in for the quad hip flexor stretch or kick back for the chest opening, really whatever feels better. Avoid dumping into the right shoulder. Feel a lift and pull back for 3. 2. 1. Release that back foot. Wiggle your left foot in, half splits, full splits, or somewhere in between splits. I like to keep the back toes tucked as I wiggle the knee back, just so I have a little bit more control over the pose. Avoid rolling onto the left hip and opening your hips up to the right. You want to feel your outer right hip roll downwards and the left hip crease pull back. Two more breaths. Bend your left knee, pigeon pose. Safely get there. If you're coming from full splits, you might have to work your way towards half splits a little bit. Any props or adjustments you'd like to make, just regular pigeon pose for a few breaths. All right. You can stay here if you'd like, or add a twist to the left, right arm underneath, using a block or your left forearm as a pillow. This helps to roll some weight to the right hip. Keep feeling that left hip pulling back. Unclench your jaw. Then we'll unthread and take a twist the other way. Left arm going underneath. You can stay there. You could interlace the hands and kind of imagine pulling the left arm away from you, or turn it into a prayer hand twist with the outer left tricep, outer elbow digging into the mat. Just be mindful here to press down through the right pinky toe so the outer right hip continues to roll down and you're not opening your hips to the right. So the twist should be coming from the torso, not the hips. 3, 2, 1. Walk the hands back, roll to your left hip and swing your right leg around. Seated figure 4 pose, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Avoid rounding your back, sit up nice and tall with the foot flexed. Now we're gonna keep the right hand behind us, reach your left arm up. Hook your left tricep on the bottom of your left foot if possible. Now you're always welcome to just stay here. You're digging the foot or pushing the foot into the tricep and vice versa, so not one more than the other. Maybe prayer hands. You'll have to brace your core a bit to sit up and avoid falling back. Twist chest to the right, push palms together. 3, 2, 1. All right, right hand behind you, straighten your right leg, put your left foot outside of your right knee, and then turn all 10 toes to the right. You're kind of rolling onto the right hip. Right hand plants fingers in the same direction as the toes, pretty close to you so you can hug this elbow in. Reach your left arm off of the mat and then sweep it to the front, grabbing the outer edge of the right foot with the thumb down. From here, you might even need to walk your right hand in a little bit more, look over towards that right foot, begin to shift your weight forward and lift up. So the only points of contact are your right hand and your left foot. Baby Grasshopper Pose for 3, 2, and 1. Lower your butt down, turn your left toes forward. Reach your right arm up, take a counter twist to the left. Should feel pretty nice. Flex your right toes and press the ball of your left foot down. Look back over that left shoulder for 3, 2, and 1. We'll take a counter pose to that twist by walking the hands off to the right. Do a little dip. And then lift yourself back up. Extend both legs straight, hands behind you and the fingers forward. Purvottanasana, reverse plank. If that's too much, reverse table, bend your knees. For reverse plank, the legs are touching. Feel the inner thighs spiral down. Lift your hips up, think toes to the ground. 5. Scoop your tailbone, push in behind your heart. 4. Should be challenging but not painful. 3, 2, 1. Lower your hips down, grab your butt, move it back, flex your feet. Reach both arms up, Paschimottanasana, fold over your legs. Grab feet, ankles, big toes, whatever you've got. And then feel the inner blades of the feet roll forward, try to pull the outer blades back. Just like when we're standing, you always have the option to put a little bend in the knees. That will help take some rounding out of your back. Keep spreading the toes, pulling them back towards you for 3, 2, and 1. Walk yourself all the way back. You're gonna take your legs up and over into plow pose. Of course, if you'd rather take a waterfall pose, please feel free. If you're in plow pose, kind of dig those elbows into the mat, hands to the low back, and then take your legs up, shoulder stand. Use more of your palm, less of your fingers. Keep your gaze straight up at your feet. Engage your legs, your glutes. I like to floint the feet, so it's between a point and a flex, kind of like you're spreading the toes apart and pressing the balls of the feet up. Option to take the legs overhead, plow pose, and pause here this time. You can keep the hands at the back. You could bind your hands, or I like to grab the outer edges of the mat. I find that pretty accessible. Press down with the back of your skull. You never want to feel too much pressure in your neck. Just breathe as deeply as you can. From there, you're welcome to go to ear pressure pose, hugging the knees to your temples. Think about the shins going towards the ground, lifting your hips, and once again, not too much pressure in the neck, more in the back of the skull for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly start to roll yourself out. Extend your legs straight, fingertips under your waistband like you're trapping the fingertips. Point your toes, puff up your chest, and drop your head back, fish pose. Stretch your throat, the head is floating off the ground. Take a lion's breath in, tongue out, exhale. And then maybe take 1 or 2 more. Slowly tuck your chin, begin to lower yourself down and draw your knees into your chest. Rock gently side to side, massage your low back. Separate the knees to your armpits. Grab your feet or ankles, happy baby pose. Notice if your tailbone wants to lift up off the ground, gently pull the tailbone back down. Imagine your spine getting flatter on the ground. Even a little tuck of the chin, you should feel the back and the sides of your neck lengthen. If you've got the space, you're welcome to extend 1 leg at a time, stretch your inner thighs, kind of like a supine skandasana pose. Release that grip and just bring your knees together, arms wide. If you'd prefer, you can just hug the right leg in and extend the left leg long. We're going to take both knees or just the right knee over to the left and look off to the right. You might even slide the left shoulder blade a little bit out from underneath you. So both shoulder blades feel really flat and heavy on the ground. Slowly coming back through center, both knees in or just the left leg in. Draw knees, left knee over to the right, look to the left. Maybe wiggling or sliding the right shoulder blade a little bit out from underneath you. Feel your breath start to slow, relax the muscles in your face. Come back through center, give yourself a nice big squeeze. A little thank you for showing up physically and mentally. Go ahead and extend your legs, let your toes flop out. Prepare your body for shavasana. Make any adjustments you need to feel more comfortable physically. Let your body be totally still and heavy. Relax the muscles in your face. Release the control over your breath. I'm going to still the body to still the mind. Shavasana. Slowly start to bring some awareness back. Notice the points of contact you have with the ground. Maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes. Roll out the wrists and ankles. And when you feel ready, stretch those arms up overhead. Draw your knees into your chest. And then roll to your right or left side as a way to come up to a comfortable seat. Keep your eyes closed, attention turned inwards. Draw your hands to your heart center and take a moment once again to honor and appreciate your decision to show up and practice not only physically doing the poses, giving your effort into the shapes, but to show up mentally and be present, practice breathing and being intentional. Can you keep a little bit of that with you as you step off of your mat today? Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Namaste. Thank you for choosing my video and my channel. I hope you enjoyed this practice. It was definitely a fun one, and I hope you feel awesome. Make sure to give this a thumbs up. Let me know if you liked it in the comments and share it with your family and friends. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'd love for you to check out my new venture, Zen Athlete Academy. I will link everything below and in the cards here so you can easily find it if you have a student athlete of your own or you know someone who's a coach or a trainer who might benefit from sharing yoga with their athletes. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.